Growing up in the south side of Chicago, I saw folks down on their luck every day. They were on street corners, under bridges, outside churches. It's a sight that stays with you. You see the pain in their eyes, the weight of the world on their shoulders. Now, I'm not saying I understand exactly what it's like to be homeless, but I do know what it's like to struggle, to worry about where your next meal is coming from. And I know that everyone deserves a roof over their head, a place to call home. But here in America, the land of opportunity, we've got a serious problem. We've got folks sleeping rough in every city, every town. And the government, the very people who should be helping, seem to be making things worse. It's like they've forgotten that these are human beings, not just statistics. It's time we start treating them with the dignity and respect they deserve. You wouldn't think the Supreme Court would have much to do with homelessness, would you? But you'd be surprised. See, back in the day, they made some decisions about property rights. These decisions, while well-intentioned, have had some unintended consequences. They've made it easier for cities to pass laws that restrict housing options. Think zoning laws, building codes, all that stuff. Now, on the surface, these laws seem reasonable. We want safe, well-maintained homes, right? But the problem is, these laws often make housing more expensive. And when housing gets too expensive, people get priced out. They end up on the streets with nowhere to go. It's a vicious cycle, and the Supreme Court, whether they realize it or not, has played a part in creating it. The government likes to tell us that homelessness is going down. They point to their statistics, their reports, their fancy charts. But let me tell you something, those numbers don't tell the whole story, not even close. See, the government has a very specific definition of homelessness, and that definition leaves out a whole lot of people. Families sleeping in cars, couch surfing with friends, living in shelters bursting at the seams. They don't count. And don't even get me started on the issue of mental health and addiction. These are real problems, folks, and they're often at the root of homelessness. But instead of addressing these issues, the government often sweeps them under the rug. They'd rather pretend these problems don't exist than actually do something about them. Section 4. California's billion-dollar question. California, the Golden State, is often seen as a leader in, well, everything. But when it comes to homelessness, even they're struggling. They've thrown billions of dollars at the problem, but it just seems to be getting worse. Take their housing-first approach, for example. The idea is simple. Give people homes, no strings attached. Sounds great in theory, right? But the reality is, it's not that simple. You can't just give someone a home and expect them to be okay. Many of these folks need support. They need counseling. They need job training. Without these things, they're just going to end up back on the streets. California's heart might be in the right place, but they've missed the mark. They've focused on putting a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Section 5, a hand up, not just a handout. So, what's the solution? Well, I'm no politician, but I do know this. We need to stop treating homelessness like it's some kind of personal failing. It's a societal problem, and it requires a societal solution. We need to invest in affordable housing, mental health services, and job training programs. We need to address the root causes of homelessness, not just the symptoms. And most importantly, we need to start treating people with compassion and understanding. This isn't about charity, folks. It's about justice. It's about recognizing that everyone deserves a chance at a decent life. It's about understanding that, but for the grace of God, there go I. We can do better, America. We have to do better.